All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your yearly 2018 Sidereal Astrology forecast. So this video is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, check out the link down below. We're using the actual size of the constellations, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. So if you typically watch horoscopes on the internet and notice the signs are different in this video, that's why. So do check that out. And also because your sign might be different. So you do want to make sure you're watching this video for your sidereal signs. And I do recommend watching these for your sun, moon, and ascendant. So if you don't know your sidereal, moon, or ascendant, or sun, do check out that birth chart calculator down below. All right, so Sagittarius, this year you got a lot of emphasis, I think, in your house of groups or friends or networking. Could be a theme regarding that this year. Lots of opportunity. You got Jupiter transiting your 11th. And if it's not more social like that, then maybe it's about technology or innovation, or you feeling a bit inspired to cultivate your future hopes and wishes. So all of this idealistic, progressive, future stuff really is expanding for you this year. You do have Saturn entering your sign here again. Dipped kind of in there in 2017, but is now there to stay for the next 2 years. Saturn in Sagittarius. And so really good now to be taking on some responsibilities, working hard at your goals or the long term, the things you want to see in the big picture that you know might take some time or some hard work. Really good to establish that at this time. All right, so let's look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, Sagittarius, here's your chart for the year looking at the outer planets, which is good for the general yearly forecast. You've got Jupiter there in your 11th house of expanding, again, the essentially community sector and the sector that is about your future hopes and wishes. So whether it's extroverted or introverted, a little bit of both, really good to get into that progressive side of yourself, that aspiring side of yourself, whether to get involved with things larger than yourself, like an organization or communities, or hang out with your friends, or larger than yourself in terms of your future hopes and wishes. So that's the expansion with that. And then where you can work hard is, on first house matters. I mean, it is a time of maybe working harder, not getting too dense with it, but this energy of things taking time and developing more of your maturity, more of your responsibility, right? That constructive energy that Saturn is helping you develop now for the next couple of years. So this is a very general reading. There is a link down below and after this video for a 20% off discount to a specific birth chart and year ahead reading. So if you want a more specific look, do check that out to get more detailed with this. But let's have a look here. January 16th, mid-month, we do have Jupiter sextiling up to Pluto. So good synergy right off the bat in January having to do with these areas, the 11th and the 1st. And now this is involving Pluto, who's already been in your first house for the past 10, 11 years. And in this context, your identity, who you are, your goals have all been going through this transformation. You've been changing, your goals have been changing, independence. And so this has been helping, through that change, for you to become more non-attached to self, more non-attached to your personal needs, to the things you want, your desires. And so you've been transforming with this. And, Pluto's been here for a long time. So a lot of you have been leveling up. Now with Pluto in good aspect, this is giving you an empowering feeling, I feel like, this year. Feeling a little bit more empowered because you're more non-attached to yourself. Those times when we're like, I don't care what happens. I don't care what the result is. I'm just going to do this thing, or I'm just going to be myself, or I'm just going to be independent. Then, when we're not attached, it's empowering. And that's the kind of energy it's like. But it's also going to be empowering your 11th house of groups, friends, community stuff, your aspirations. Again, good positive energy going into that sector. Now, the new moon on the 16th of January will be in your sign, actually. So right off the bat, kicking off the year, first house, new moon, coinciding with the Saturn and Pluto energy. Could be kicking some things off there involving your goals and really the year ahead. Just great to set intentions for the year ahead there. January 31st, we do have a lunar eclipse. It is going to be in Cancer. However, I think it's going to be pulling more on the Leo side of it. Reason being, we have the North Node finishing Leo these first few months of the year. suggesting a culmination of what we've been learning about on our life path this past year and a half of Leo. And in this case, regarding your possibilities and potentials, you seeing the big picture, you seeing what's possible, right? Having that open mind, that open horizon, that adventurous spirit for life. If you've noticed this undercurrent of lessons being developed about this past year and a half, this is now coming to a completion. January, February, March, around here. And even too, if there's been anything involving travel or higher learning, philosophy, spirituality, astrology, university, this type of stuff is coming to a completion at the beginning of this year, which is great. Now, February 15th, we do have a solar eclipse, and it is going to be in your second house where you have the south node. So what you're likely going to notice these first few months is while there's that completion, there's also this new shift where life is taking you into the deeper dimensions a bit. Not so much in the external, but just kind of this pool, this life path pool. So great to do that. I think it's a fantastic year for diving deep, doing some healing maybe, facing some fears, breaking some patterns. These eclipses can help you do that. Now, with this February 15th, however, there is this releasing of the south node. If the north node is what you're developing, the south node is what you're letting go of. And in order to get into the deeper dimensions, it is about letting go of anything that might be unhealthy regarding the material life. If you feel like there's anything imbalanced in your life, feels like maybe too much of a concern for the material life or the resources or finances, or maybe it's too much on your self-reliance, or maybe there's not enough. It is a time of bringing balance back to your resources, both inner and outer here this year. And February 15th could be a new beginning with this. So sit with this mid-February, see what's shaping up, because a lot of this will be culminating by the end of July. So April 14th, we have the second aspect between Jupiter and Pluto. So if you're not sure what this whole expansion with friends or group stuff is, or your aspirations, or this whole empowerment with self stuff is specifically, tangibly, like it's not something specific in your life, I think it definitely will be by April, okay? Because the second aspect usually is more tangible, more in the world. And so from April onward, really good for implementing, again, that empowerment, non-attachment to self, and the expansion of things larger than yourself or the future. April 15th, new moon in Pisces, significant because it's conjunct Uranus. Uranus has been transiting your fourth house for the past roughly 8 years, creating lots of variability, likely with your home life, maybe with your family life, or your health even. So if you've noticed that erratic energy, it's because Uranus is helping you find more freedom with this area. And sort of, for example, if it's with your home, it's like seeing that, our true home is our body. Our body is our temple. And the freedom of that versus the external reality, right? External home and stuff, which is important. But, Uranus also helps us be more non-attached with that, to have freedom, to break free. So new beginnings with this, though. New beginnings with freedom when it comes to home or family or your health. And so great to set intentions with this. Could be for, the next 6 months, some new beginnings, maybe majorly in your life, depending on your personal chart, but very good for implementing that true self. How can you link your home with your free, true, higher self, I think is the key. Now, May 25th, we have Jupiter trining Neptune. Lots of positive aspects to Jupiter. This one's actually been going on since December of 2017, so the month before this year. And this is, again, giving positive support into the idealistic future group oriented area, but it's coming from the third. And the reason this is nice is because Neptune typically confuses things, especially in the third house, because third house is the house of practical understanding, rational understanding, objective understanding. And Neptune's been here for the past 10 years as well, muddling this area, creating a haze about it. Maybe there's an attachment or ideals about your ideas, but there's also dreams and fantasies, or maybe it's about your communication and the ideals about that. And thus ideals are a form of, if it's ever a form of escape or something like that, can create confusion. So there's support now with this area where I think you're more accepting and in the now moment when it comes to the mind, more accepting when it comes to communication, more present in general. So you have this good support here where the area of communication, of a willingness to learn in the present moment, is very much supporting your group sector and your future aspirations. And likewise, as you're expanding with those future aspirations, It's supporting this easier goingness with your mind and your perspective. So very good synergy here between these air houses. These are both about community in many ways. The third house is about your peers or your neighbors, that kind of thing. So really good flow with that kind of other oriented stuff, which is the air houses. So that's the trine. It's actually the second one, right? So things get a bit tangible with that here, May 25th, if you've noticed anything new starting up with that last December. Now, June 28th, we have a full moon in Sagittarius in your sign. So we talked about how at the end of June there will be this, or actually no, we didn't. We talked about July. But in December, all right, some new beginnings with you. Because in December we did have a new beginning involving your sign. And so now it's the culminating point of this, the status check of the year, mid-year. How are things going? How is that patience and discipline going? How is this building towards your productive energy and yourself with, the things you want to build for the long term? So there could be culmination. It could be a harvest, but at the same time, you're going to know some things are working, some things are not. So you want to let go of what isn't and continue to put energy into what is for the next 6 months. And I think you'll find this to be another step in the right direction. So yeah, July 27th is the lunar eclipse. This is going to be the culmination of the energy we talked about in February, how if there is anything that you wanted to bring back into balance with your self-reliance or bring back into balance with your resources, this is where this comes to a culmination. In fact, this whole summertime is a very culminating type of time, which I'll explain a little bit more about here in just a minute. But with this, yes, maybe some, it just becomes clear in terms of what you got to let go of. And maybe you do that. You let it go, you transition, you bring some balance back to it. And then that's going to help you get further into this life path of yours to get into what matters most in life, the deeper side of life, right? Vulnerability, trust in relationships, sharing of resources, interdependency, all right, this kind of stuff. This is where the life path is taking you this year. So with this lunar eclipse, there are 2 partial solar eclipses. They're nothing major. One will be in Gemini at the beginning of July. And so there could be some new beginnings with relationships. July 12th, it's certainly possible in a yearly sense. And then on August 11th, there's a partial solar eclipse in Leo, again suggesting more developments with this open mind that you've been developing, right? This expansive energy or anything involving travel and whatnot I mentioned earlier. So more steps in that right direction. But what makes this summertime even more culminating is that August 19th, we have the last aspect with Jupiter trine Neptune. And so this is the solidification of this air energy I was talking about, the group, community stuff, and your communication and all this. So completion there, solidification, plus on September 12th, we have Jupiter sextiling Pluto for the last time. Usually these last aspects are, completions. So September 12th may be involving this empowerment of self. And again, anything involving groups or your ideals, your aspirations. Okay, so culminating time there, that part of the year. And even in October 24th, we have a full moon with that Uranus. So whatever new started there in April, like I was saying, with freedom with home, freedom with family, health, whatever that is completing October 24th. Could be a harvest time with some of that stuff. So the year ends with Jupiter going into Scorpio, your 12th house here in November and December, and going into 2019 with Jupiter there. So these last couple months, really good for expanding when it comes to your spiritual life, getting your alone time, getting some of that receptive energy. And in fact, on December 7th, there will be a new moon in that 12th. So it could be a whole new beginning actually about your spiritual well-being, the importance of acceptance and living in the present moment, connecting to God, anything that helps you really, connect to the essence of life, however you personally see that. All right, so Sagittarius, have a fantastic year. Thank you for watching. Do check out that link for the 20% discount if you want a more specific look. But wishing you the very best year, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast.